Hi, I'm Cher, the Shadow Walker, and today I'm taking a look at the past 24 hours in the United States for Bigfoot, Dogman, Hellhound, Skinwalker, Wendigo, and spider humanoids or crawlers, depending on what you call them. I'm starting with Washington State. And in the past 24 hours, in north of Centrilla, specifically in Grand Mound, power line adhesion at 2:45 p.m., two adults on a motorcycle witnessed a creature running across a ridge top. It was moving in a beeline towards a dense tree line, covering ground much faster than a human could in that terrain. It was described as roughly 10 feet tall and tan and brown in color. They reported it to the Bigfoot Researchers Organization. And a dog man in the North Cascades, specifically in the wooded outskirts near Bellingham, at approximately 1:15 a.m. in the morning, one witness saw a creature standing perfectly still at the edge of a hiking trail. The witness reported that it seemed to be watching them with heavy glaze that caused a physical sensation of dread. It did not charge, but slowly retreated backward into the shadows without breaking eye contact. They reported it to the local community of cryptids. And there have been no hellhound or skinwalker sightings or no spider humanoid sightings in that area. Oregon State in the last 24 hours in the Mount Hood National Forest, specifically near the Timberline area near the government camp at approximately 8:30 p.m. last night. A group of backpackers, there was 3 of them, they witnessed a creature that was circling their campsite just beyond the light of their fire. They could hear massive bipedal footsteps and heavy breathing. When they used their spotlight, they saw an 8-foot-tall figure with dark, matted hair peering from behind a large Douglas fir. It was swaying its body from side to side, a behavior often called as bobbing, before it let out a chest-vibrating growl and retreated. They reported it to the Bigfoot Researchers Society as a Class A reporting. And a dogman on the Oregon coast in the rural outskirts of Tillamook County near the river at 3:45 a.m., a local resident moving their livestock trailer noticed a creature crouched in a hunch on all fours in the middle of a private access road. As the truck approached, the creature stood up onto its full height, estimated at 7.5 feet. It was carrying a small animal carcass in its mouth and jumped a road drainage ditch in a single leap and disappeared into the coastal scrub. They reported it to the Dogman Activity, a special private investigator in that area, and a hellhound in the Silver Falls State Park near the Trail of Ten Falls at 11:15 p.m. 2 people that were visiting the park and they were staying in a cabin saw a creature. The witnesses saw a large shadowed-like canine with glowing red eyes sitting perfectly still at the edge of the trailhead. They reported that the creature was emulating a human-like silhouette before dropping to all fours, dissolving into the shadows. When they directed their flashlights towards it, no sound was heard during the time of the encounter, and they reported it to the Oregon-based Research Paranormal Group. Right along to Montana in the past 24 hours, specifically in the Lee Creek west of Missoula, at 6:30 p.m. at dusk, 2 backcountry hikers. The creature was observed wading through a shallow creek before climbing a steep embankment with incredible speed. The witnesses noted that it carried a heavy, musky odor. It was approximately 8 feet tall with dark, matted fur. They reported it to the local Fish and Wildlife and Parks. And a dog man in the Swan Valley area near the southern edge of Condon at 3:15 a.m., one person, a local resident who is a rancher, the witness reported the creature was trying to pry the door of an outer walk-in freezer. When the witness turned on the exterior floodlight, the creature stood upright on two legs, snared, and leaped over a 6-foot fence in a single bound. It was described as having a canine head, but a very gaunt, man-like torso. And they reported it to the Dogman Encounters community logs and to a private investigator. In Idaho State, in the last 24 hours, a Bigfoot near the boundary of the Kootenay National Wildlife Refuge. At 9:45 a.m., two local fishermen, so he had his adult son with him, the guy and his son, reported seeing a massive dark-haired figure standing mid-thigh deep in a marshy inlet. It appeared to be reaching into the water, possibly fishing or foraging for tubers. When the witnesses' boat motor sputtered, the creature looked towards them, showing a distinct, flat, human-like face. Then it slowly backed into the tall reeds without making a sound. They reported it to the BFRO, and they also reported it to the Fish and Games officer. And in Jump Creek Canyon, at 2:30 a.m., a solo camper, the witness was awakened by the sounds of a claws on the rock. Outside their vehicle, they observed a creature with canine head and pointed ears perching on a rock roughly 15 feet above them. The creature was letting out a low, rhythmic huffing sound, described as a disturbed exhale. When the witness hit the car's panic alarm, the creature leapt from the ledge, and landing on all fours, it vanished into the canyon shadow. They reported it to the Dogman's Encounters base and a regional paranormal forum. And a skinwalker or Wendigo in the outskirts of the Port Neuf River at 12:10 a.m. Two motorists. The witnesses reported an unusually large mangly coyote that was running alongside their car at 45 miles per hour. They noted that its rear legs looked distorted and it was staring into the passenger window with human-like eyes while keeping pace. As they approached the reservation boundary, the creature suddenly veered off the road and blurred into the darkness. They did not report that to anybody other than the log sighting that I pick it up off of. And that is it for sightings there. Wyoming State, in the last 24 hours, in the Shoshone National Forest near Lander outskirts, Wind River Range at 5:40 p.m., late afternoon, ranch hands checking fences. There was two of them. Observed a massive dark-haired figure, roughly 8 feet tall, walking upright along the ridgeline. It was moving with a deliberate, heavy gait that did not match a bear or a moose. It appeared to be observing the valley below before stepping behind a rock outcrop and vanishing. They reported it to the Bigfoot Research Society organization and a dog man in Bighorn Mountains near Medicine Wheel. At 1:15 a.m., a long-haul trucker at a truck stop for the night resting, he pulled over, reported that he saw a wolf-headed humanoid rifling through a heavy-duty, bear-proof trash receptacle. The creature reportedly used its long hand-like front paws to manipulate the latch. While the driver flashed his high beams, the creature stood upright, stared for a moment, with dull yellow eyes, and bound into the darkness on all fours. They reported it to the private Dogman Researchers log and the local community forums. and a skinwalker or Wendigo, whichever you prefer, in the eastern Wyoming plains at the outskirts at 11:30 p.m. Two teens driving on a dirt road. The witnesses reported a distorted pale coyote that mimicked the truck speed that they were going at 45 miles per hour while running in the ditch. They noted its limbs looked too long for its body and that it was making a sound of high-pitched human laughter over the engine noise. It eventually peeled off towards an abandoned homestead, and they shared it with the first-hand encounter on regional paranormal social media groups. Thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful day. And if you could please like, share, and subscribe, it's free. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.